thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and setting up an interview. This is gonna be great.
And thank you for having me on the show. This is gonna be a lot of fun. I'm so happy to have you as a fan, and this is gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Now, of course, if you want to go subscribe to the official Jaguar Gator 9, here you go. Here's his channel. Just reached 40,000 subscribers earlier in the month. As you can see, I watched quite a bit of his videos. Quite a bit. We're also Jaguar fans, so that helps too.
We suffer together.
Yes, we do. And also, if you want to go check out his college football channel, one I don't watch as many videos on, but official Jaguar Gator 8, if you want to go watch those. This guy puts in 110% of the work, just hardcore NFL research. He does it right. Go check him out. All his links are in the description. I put his YouTube channel, his Twitter, his Twitch, and even his merchandise in the description. I still need to order my JG9 shirt. I know. Yes. I'm sorry.
Got new merch coming this month, so
I'm determined. Should I just get the regular official Jaguar Gator 9 shirt, or should I get the Drink the Spike mug?
Those are two good choices. The one that has been selling a lot of is the JG9 hoodie. That's been selling quite a bit. So
yeah,
we got options. We got like 100 products on the store. So
yes, definitely go check it out. Again, you can check it out on his channel or in the description in this video. So we're just going to begin this plain and simple. Again, JG9, you post daily content on your channel for the most part. And I know, you love to wait until that day to post a video. So with that being said, any idea what video you'll be posting tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I probably have an idea of tomorrow. Tomorrow, actually, I'm pretty ahead of the schedule for tomorrow. So
nice.
Sometimes what I'll do is when the video is uploading for the next day, I'll start doing research and see if I can find something so I can sleep on it. And right. I was lucky enough to be able to find something that should be coming out tomorrow.
Well,
if you like the Seahawks 2000, it'll be a good one.
Seahawks and who in 2000?
Seahawks and the Raiders.
Oh, Seahawks and the Raiders. Week 16?
Week 8, I want to say. Or week 9.
Yeah, well, that was back when the Seahawks were, of course, in the West, and they played each other twice a year. So, all right, well, I'll definitely have to look forward to watching that. So, you've been making videos for a couple of years now. You started with the posting player highlights, and then you went into the football documentaries. What was your inspiration to start researching about the NFL and then eventually college football and then creating these YouTube videos?
Yeah, so I've always been fascinated by the NFL and NFL history. And I remember something that one of my advisors in high school said. And they said that if you want to be able to tell sports, you got to know the history. And I took that to heart. And since 2014, I've been posting on Reddit. I've made a ton of history posts there. And then I decided a few years ago, I'm going to take it to a visual medium. I'm going to take it to the video. It's going to be a bit more work, obviously, but I think it's going to be worth it. I think I could do something with YouTube. This was right around the time that a lot of YouTubers were starting to get into sports on YouTube. Like Urine Injury was starting to get really big.
Right.
So I was like, let's hop on and see what happens. Also because in college, I did announcing for my college teams. So I spent all my free time that I wasn't doing college stuff. I was spent researching for the teams. So it just came in my blood to do this insane research. And then it got to a point where after college, I was like, okay, well, now what? I have all this free time because after law school, I'm just going back to my apartment and I'm not doing anything. So I figured, let's make some YouTube videos and let's see where this goes. And it just kind of took off from there.
Wow, that's a nice story. As an aspiring sports broadcaster myself, I've also gotten the advice of you got to do your research ahead of time. You got to know the history of the game. I started off as a huge hockey fan. Now I love football just as much, doing equal research in both sports. But so now on to kind of more of a personal level. I know a few weeks ago you mentioned on your Twitch stream, because I know you grew up in New York, if the New York Jets defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 2004 divisional round, you would have became a Jets fan? Is that true? What are you thinking?
Probably. I mean, my first real exposure to football, the first game I ever watched, I remember, was Jets-Chargers 2004. I was watching in the basement of my house with my dad, and the Jets won that game. And then the next week, we were at a ski resort, and we were watching the Jets play the Steelers on TV. And the Jets lost that game, and I was 8, 9 years old at the time. I was absolutely heartbroken over that. At that point, I said to because this is how 8-year-olds think, I was like, I hate the Jets. I hate that they broke my heart. I hate the Jets. So if they won that game, I probably would have been a Jets fan. I like to think that. But then I became a Jags fan. 05, I started watching football, and I saw Jets-Bengals on Sunday Night Football, watched that game, liked the uniforms, liked the way that they played, liked everything about it, and was like, you know what, they're going to be my team.
Wow. And you're, of course, referring to the 04 wildcard game against the Chargers where they won in overtime.
Yep, that.
So weird to think that Drew Brees was once a Charger, I'll tell you.
Oh, crazy. And McCardle, too.
Yeah.
Still feels weird seeing McCardle in a non-Jags or Bucks uni. Still feels weird.
Yeah, for sure. So you became a Jaguar fan in 05. That was the, Fred Taylor, Byron Leftwich era. So basically, what made you that diehard fan that, back in 2005, you're thinking, all right, this is going to be my team for as long as it lasts? I'll tell you why I'm a Jaguar fan. It was that hot stretch in 2013. We beat the Browns in a crazy game. We beat the Texans on Thursday Night Football. Living in Massachusetts, I'm like, all right, I know the Patriots are great, but what if I, have a really close second favorite team, kind of? And that's where I picked Jacksonville. You drafted Blake Bortles and Allen Robinson, and the rest is history. So
I will say that stretch in 2013, besides 2017, was probably the most fun I had as a fan, because that team was awful, and we had no business winning 4 out of 5. And there was actually like an outside shot because of how bad the AFC was. We're like, okay, if certain things went our way, despite this horrible start, we could, 10 things had to happen, we could sneak into the playoffs.
Right.
I was like, this team played with a lot of heart. 4 out of 5 wins. That was a fun time. That was a really fun time. But in terms of how I became a fan, I really don't know. I mean, I saw the Bengals game, and then I remember watching football the next week, and they cut away. It was bonus coverage. It was CBS bonus coverage. So the 1 o'clock game ended. I forget what the 1 o'clock game was. But they cut away to overtime of Jaguars-Steelers. Rasheed Mathis picked 6, and that was the moment I was like, yeah, this is it.
That's awesome. Wow. Yeah, I've rewatched that game, but I was only 1 in 2005, so. But yeah, I have rewatched that game. Rasheed Mathis, definitely one of the best safeties in Jaguar history. Wow, that's actually a pretty cool story. And yeah, they beat the Bengals in that Sunday night game. Wish the Jaguars would, play a Sunday night game nowadays.
Haven't seen one of those since 08.
That's right.
I was in 6th grade the last time.
Yeah, I think, so 08 was against Tampa. That was the Sunday night game,
No,
right?
08 was Pittsburgh.
No, that was Pittsburgh. That's right. And then 2011, their last Monday night game was that win against the Ravens in 2011.
Yeah, and then we had the Monday night game that same year against the Chargers.
We don't bring that one up.
Yeah. There was a nice pass by Gabbert to Shorts in the end zone, and that was about it.
Yeah, that was the Blaine Gabbert, man. The beginning of the that 2012 season was truly the beginning of the end. I mean, who would have thought that Gabbert would have just flamed out after 1 year?
Yeah. I mean,
rough.
I think it was like 2012. He played well in the preseason, and week 1 against the Vikings, he looked good. The Raiders game before he got hurt, he looked great. Against the Packers, he threw for 300 yards. I was like, okay, there might be something here. And then it all just
2013 came along. He threw that terrible interception to who was it? Tom Bahali, I think.
Yeah.
In the home opener against Kansas City, and then that's where I'm like, all right, Chad Henne show.
We didn't cross the 37-yard line until 5 minutes left. Our own 37 until 5 minutes left in the game.
That's ridiculous.
It was JT Thomas with a blocked punt safety, and that was the only highlight.
Yeah, I was about to say, I remember the Jaguars were up like 2-0 like a minute into the game, and then they just fell flat. Fell flat. Well, anyway, more Jaguar talk here. After this guy right here, Tony Baselli, gets inducted into the Hall of Fame this upcoming year, do you think that this will help Jimmy Smith and Fred Taylor's, chances to get into the Hall?
I don't know about Jimmy. I think Jimmy is probably never getting it. I think the thing with Jimmy is, as much as I want to see him in the Hall of Fame, number one, there were the drug issues that are gonna that people are gonna
from 93 to 94.
Number two was there's a big logjam at wide receiver. There's a giant logjam. I mean, you're seeing Torrey Holt's not in yet. You're seeing Reggie Wayne's not in. Like
James Ward.
There's a lot of great wide receivers that are not in, and I'm not sure there's a campaign for Smith. Now, Fred Taylor, on the other hand, we've seen some momentum taking place lately. We've seen some momentum where the Jags are trying to push for him. People in the media are trying to push for him. The one Pro Bowl thing is going to hurt him, but I can't blame him for that because I look at it as, okay, if Fred Taylor had the same exact stat line but was playing in New England, and he played the final 2 years in New England, but if he played his whole career in New England or New York, he played in Dallas, a big market, same exact stats, he'd be in. He'd absolutely be in. So I think Taylor's got a better case. I don't think either of them are getting in, but if I had to bet on one of them, I would say it would be Fred Taylor.
Yeah, I would love to do the thing where you can learn about Jimmy Smith's 290-plus yard game against the Ravens in the upper right corner, but I don't know how to do that. But but yes, you did a fantastic job on that video a couple months ago. And yeah, I mean, I kind of agree there. I mean, Torrey Holt, I think, another former Jaguar in 09.
His legendary 0 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's right. And what was it? Only 800 receiving yards. But anyway, I do think Torrey Holt should be in, and definitely Reggie Wayne also. But yeah, Fred Taylor, I'm kind of surprised hasn't been in already. And I do agree, if he was on a bigger market team and made like 3 or 4 Pro Bowls instead of just 1, I do think he would be in the Hall of Fame already. So I agree with you there, because he has the most rushing yards not in the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah, like not kind of Peterson and Gore, but they're
right.
Yeah, it's because he was an alternate too. He only got in because Willie Parker dropped out. So in 07, if Parker didn't drop out, Taylor, I mean, he'd be hands down the best player in NFL history and never make a Pro Bowl, hands down. If he didn't drop out.
Yeah, man, Willie Parker. Like, I know he was great with the Steelers, but Willie Parker over Fred Taylor, that's an interesting one.
And there was a year that Fred Taylor had like over 5 yards per carry, 1,600 yards, didn't make it. Corey Dillon made it, and he had one great game against Denver, and one of the best games ever by halfback, but that one game carried him in. Taylor was averaging like 150 yards per game over the second half of the season, didn't make it in. So he's been robbed of a few.
Well, at least Maurice Jones-Drews made a couple, and he did have that amazing 2011 season. Yeah. So
how we did that with 8 in the box on every play because Chaston West was our number 1, I have no clue.
That's right, Chaston West. Oh my goodness. That was the year before we drafted Justin Blackmon also.
Yeah.
Oh, good times. Quote unquote good time. I don't know. My only good time was, end of 2013 and 2015, 2017, and like before week 6 of 2018.
Yeah.
And I guess the couple weeks where Gardner Minshew was lighting it up. Other than that.
Yeah, I mean the 4-4 start in 2019 with Minshew Mania, that was fun. But
that was fun. We went on Thursday Night Football. We finally, broke that coast. We beat the Titans. We went on the road, beat Denver, beat the Jets. We beat the Raiders in the last game in Oakland, right? Like, I don't know. The Jags had a few good games that year that really made me happy. But, of course, going 1-15 the following year just squashes all that.
Yep. Playing Nick Foles didn't help in 19.
What was it, 4 years, $86 million, whatever it was? What a bad contract. Well, now he is the Colts problem. Anyway, moving on to, if you needed to choose any kicker in any era for a game-winning field goal, who would you choose? And this is, within anywhere between 50 to 60 yards.
Any kicker 50 to 60 yards.
Can't be in Denver.
Right. I mean, Vinatieri, but his kicks were mainly under 50. So
right.
I mean, the safe bet is Tucker. The safe bet's Justin Tucker. That's a safe one.
Yeah, I was thinking Justin Tucker as well because I know people are going to say Justin Tucker is the best kicker of all time. I think it's Vinatieri. Mm-hmm. Morton Anderson, Gary Anderson, then probably Tucker at 4 or 5. But in terms of long-range kicking, I mean, especially after he made the 66-yard field goal last year, it's almost like you got to go with Tucker in any long-distance, situation. Yeah.
I mean, the only guy I'll take over Tucker is if we're playing the Colts, I'll take Josh Scobie.
Yeah, 59-yarder, baby.
Yeah, 04, 08, 2010, 50-plus yards and all 3 game-winning kicks. to beat the Colts. Any other situation, I'll take Tucker. But tie game against the Colts, give me Scobie.
Scobie, I like it. And Super Bowl winning kick, give me Vinatieri.
Easily.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, this is a good question. This is probably my favorite question out of the bunch. Hopefully you'll love it. Who do you think was the worst coach to appear on Dumb Decisions?
Oh, the worst coach on Dumb Decisions. I mean, there's two ways to go about it, because there's one guy that, I mean, there were some guys that were inept at coaching, and then there were some guys that just didn't care. Like, I know they're good coaches because I've seen them as good coaches, but they just didn't care. Like Urban Meyer was on Dumb Decisions.
Right.
And
I know that onside kick against the Seahawks.
Yeah, I would take Urban. He was terrible. But I felt like with Urban, there's something if he actually tried and cared. And he did. He didn't. But if he actually cared, there would have been something there. I think in terms of being completely in over their head, Gus Bradley. I featured him on Dumb Decisions with the 4 runs of the 1 yard line with Toby Gerhardt against the Bills in 2015.
Yep.
I think it's probably Gus Bradley in that case. But I mean, I'll take Gus over Urban any day of the week.
Yeah, I mean, I was obviously thinking, Urban Meyer, Gus Bradley, myself, because I'm just like, I don't like these two coaches. But I'd probably go Urban 1, Gus Bradley 2, Rich Kotite 3. I think that's the order I would go in.
Yeah, Kotite's definitely up there.
Yeah, Kotite was, abysmal coach with the Jets, and he didn't do much better with the Eagles. So,
yeah, today's video was a fun with Kotite oh wait, I don't know what I confused Kotite and Consulate because they're the same team, but
right.
Yeah, this is not it. But yeah, Kotite had some really dumb decisions. David Coley's up there too. David Coley is up there. He had no business being a head coach.
Yeah, David Culley now. Of course, Texans got Lovie Smith. We'll see how that goes for them. I do remember watching. I think the Gus Bradley one was my first Dumb Decisions I watched because I'm just like, you know what? This guy's a Jaguar fan. I hate Gus Bradley. He probably not too fond of Gus Bradley either. You know what? I'm going to watch this. And then I completely forgot about that. I did watch that game back in 2015, but yeah, I completely forgot about the 4 handoffs to Toby Gerhardt, which would, of course, be his last carries in the NFL because, of course, it was.
Yep. What a way to go out.
What a way to go out. Should have gave, play action pass, just run with TJ Yeldon, do anything but give it to Toby Gerhardt.
You could sneak it with Bortles. You could.
Right.
I think we still I don't think we still had Tafoe on there at fullback, but.
Oh yeah, no, he was 2014. I think
I think he was 2013 and 14. So I don't think we still had him there. But anything else besides giving it to Toby?
Yeah, especially 4 straight plays. That's just no.
Yeah, that game was probably the most frustrated I've ever been after a win. That was probably because we were up 27-3.
Right.
Blew that lead. The whole Toby Gerhardt debacle. There was the blown call in the pick 6 where. Robinson got pushed down. There should have been pass interference called.
Right.
It never should have gone to that point where the Bills took the lead. And then we got lucky with the Brian Walters pass interference on 3rd down. And then Allen Hurns a touchdown at the end zone. But, the fact that it got to that point, that was the most frustrated I've been after a win.
Yeah, because we scored like 3 touchdowns, like a minute and a half or something like that, right? And then, I know, just to give up that lead throughout the entire second half to E.J. Manuel of all quarterbacks also.
I think Dwayne Gratz got burned quite a few times in that game.
That's a name I haven't heard of in a while.
Yeah, name I never want to hear again.
Literally. But it's okay because they would end up drafting Jalen Ramsey that year, or I guess after that year. So it worked out kind of decent in the end.
Yeah, he's going to be a Hall of Famer, so good pick. Just awful management at the end, but can't deny it was an A+ pick.
No, A+ pick. I don't like Jalen Ramsey the way how he obviously, faked the back injury to, get at Jacksonville, but I can't hate on his talents, right? Like he's still a great player.
It's a head case, but he's a star.
Right. Terrell Owens of corners in the modern day, basically. So I know you're going through law school right now. Kind of take a little Boomer's fastest 3 minutes here. Take a slow down on all the football questions. So you've graduated college, now you're in law school. What type of law are you studying?
So the thing with law school is I went to law school because I took a sport law class. I was fascinated by it, and I was like, you know what, this might be something I want to do. Maybe be an agent at some point. So I'd taken a lot of sports related classes. At the same time I went to law school, I got my master's in sport law and business. So I finished that. Took a lot of classes on like pro sport law, amateur sport law, like NCAA compliance, pro sports branding. I took a class with Commissioner Bud Selig, which was incredible to
That's
just
sick.
pick his mind, talk about the history of baseball and all that. So I'm taking a lot of copyright law classes. I'm taking a lot of classes that apply to me, like copyright, sports related classes. But I graduate in the winter, so I have one more semester left. Usually you do it in 6 semesters. I'm doing it in 7 because I got the master's at the same time. And then after that, I'm gonna make this my full-time job. So after this, JG9 will be what I make a living off of.
Well, future congrats to you in the winter. And yeah, I mean, just keep on pumping out the content. Cannot wait to watch that. So you want to, go down the sports agent road. I was kind of thinking that when you mentioned law school, I'm like, he definitely wants to go down the path of like something in sports law. And I think that's very cool that you want to be a sports agent. If you get any clients, just tell them to come on Fletcher Sports Zone for an interview. Remember me. Shameless advertising. All right, here we go. So, referring back to another Twitch stream, I remember you giving the story about how in the 2012 draft, Don Terry Poe gave you a high five. But I also know you've went to multiple NFL drafts. Kind of explain the atmosphere. Being with a bunch of Jaguar fans. Being in that fan section. Just ultimately soaking in the draft.
Yeah. I mean, the draft is incredible. I grew up in New York, so I went for the first time in 2012. I was extremely lucky to go. And to see what it's become, going from Radio City to this spectacle, is nuts. For all the flack that Roger Goodell gets, some of it deserved, some of it not deserved, but for all the flack, I think his greatest accomplishment is making the draft what it is today. Because when it was back in Radio City, I mean, it was kind of boring. I'm not going to lie. It was kind of boring. You couldn't tell that the draft was happening. It's like life went on around New York City, and you just went into Radio City for the draft, and that was it. Once people left the draft, that was it. You didn't really fill the seats, so it kind of emptied out. It was just a dull atmosphere. And then they started moving the draft around, and I was like, okay, this seems like a really stupid idea. I was like, this is a bad idea. You're gonna have the draft outdoors. You're gonna move it around like that. I don't agree with this at all. And here we are, like half a decade later, and I'm like, this is genius. The atmosphere to draft is absolutely nuts if they do it right. I went to 2 drafts at Radio City. I went to Chicago. I went to Nashville. I went to Cleveland in 2021, and I was lucky enough to go to Vegas this past year. So I kind of want to make it my every year thing. Like it's my favorite time of the year. So I kind of want to make my thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I definitely get what you're saying about how like the old New York, post, like it was so like iconic just to keep it in that building. But at the same time, like you're in a building, it's so dull. I kind of, at least look wise on television, it looked kind of dull. I get what you're saying about how moving it around, it definitely has benefited the NFL, giving them more profit, giving fan bases more of a chance to, represent their team. So you went to Tennessee. That must be interesting. A Jaguar fan in Tennessee. Wow. No, but that's incredible. I also saw on your Twitter, did you meet Roger Goodell? Or take a picture with him?
Yeah. I didn't really meet Goodell, but basically on day 3 of the draft, he'll like announce if day 3 has started, the Jaguars are on the clock, and then he'll walk down the staircase, and instead of going backstage, because his job is done on day 3. He doesn't have to go up and announce any of the picks or do any of that. So his job is done. So he'll walk down the staircase, and just everyone he sees, he'll take a picture with, he'll sign something. So
that's wicked cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
He took like a solid hour just going down, signing people's stuff. Like he's a really nice guy. From all my encounters with him, he is a super nice guy.
Seems like it. I mean, he's a very family-oriented guy as well. I know he's always taking pictures with his wife and children and whatnot. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, no matter what you think about like how he's doing, like for NFL itself, as long as he's a nice guy, that's pretty much all you could ask for. So, all right, so this was the first video I watched on your channel. What was going through your mind after you uploaded the NFL Red Zone 1988 Week 2 video?
That was the most proud I've ever been of a video. That was
I'm sure.
So my theory for that, I always had an idea in the back of my mind that there's no content happening during the offseason. You have all these games that are taking place, all these history of games. And what the NFL did, I don't know if they still do it anymore, but what they used to do is during the offseason, they would show old red zones from this past season. So they would show like 2019 week 1, 2019 week 2, and they just go in order like that. And I thought this is a great idea. Like I like rewatching this. I like rewatching the fast pace. I like rewatching this, and plus because I don't really watch Red Zone anymore because I just watch every game because.
Yeah, no, I heard your strategy. Yeah. You buy all the cheap TVs off of eBay and you set them up. That's so smart.
Yeah. So I was like, this is a cool concept. And I just thought to myself, what if we did this for an old week? What if we made a never before Red Zone? So we pretended that it was a certain week in NFL history and we did a Red Zone of that. And I thought to myself, after watching that, this could be a good idea. There might be something there. And COVID hit and there were no sports on. And I was like, okay, this might be my opportunity. This might be my chance. I have time now to put something like this together because all my law school classes were pass-fail at that point. It was virtual, it was pass-fail. You just had to show up. You didn't even have to put your webcam on at that point because nobody knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
So I was like,
high school, same thing.
Yep. I was like, there's something here. I might have something. So I had to first find all the footage from a certain week. So I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I got to do it right. I want to be able to find footage of every single game from a certain time slot. I don't want to omit any games. So finding a week was tough, and then seeing, okay, which week would work the best in terms of excitement, in terms of how many games, in terms of what format would work the best. And then I got to work. It took about a solid month to do that simultaneously while working on other videos. It took a long time. But someone reached out to me, a guy by the name of Fenshield. I don't know his real name, but his Reddit handle was Fenshield. He heard I was doing this project and was like, look, if you want help on this, by all means. And I said, actually, I could use like a Scott Hansen type. I could use like a play-by-play. Like what do you got? And he sent me his voiceover, and it was phenomenal. He was the voice for the Red Zone, and he did a phenomenal job. If I ever do it again, he's coming back for sure.
Nice.
So I got to work. I put the footage together, watched all the games, figured out, okay, based on the 10-minute tracker updates and based on announcer updates, where does each game fit? And that took a lot, especially because I work in iMovie, so you can only have one track in at a time versus like Adobe, it'd be easy. You just put all the game footage in, you put it on 6 different tracks, and you just
right.
But like iMovie has
to kind of skim your way through and like pick out like which plays and which moments you want to highlight.
Yep. So I did all that. I put together graphics packages, a very basic graphics package, and split screen and all that fun stuff. Uploaded it, and I was like, I hope this does well. I was like, I hope this does well. And I posted it on Reddit that I was going to do this, and it shot up to number 1 within an hour.
Wow.
Number 1 on the NFL site within an hour, and I was like, okay, there's something there. And then Barstool picked it up.
Really?
Someone on Barstool posted an art. I think it was Clem. I think it was Clem.
Oh.
He said some guy is making a video on 1988 Red Zone Week 2. And I thought to myself, okay, this has to be good now. This has to be good because actual media is picking it up. And then it premiered on that Sunday at 1:00. It premiered that day. And I thought, my initial reaction going in was, okay, we're going to get some people. They're going to be like, oh, this is a cool idea. They're going to turn off after 10 minutes. They're going to turn off after 10 minutes, be like, okay, this is cool, but I'm going to watch something else now. The views shot up throughout the day. At one point, we had like 800 people watching at the same time. And this was back when they only had like 1,200
right.
subs. So the views were just increasing. And then Andrew Siciliano picked it up. Scott Hansen picked it up.
I was about to say, I was going to say, what was your reaction to Scott Hansen seeing it? That was my next question.
The moment that someone tweeted out at Scott Hansen that they were that like, this is incredible. And the moment that Andrew Siciliano posted a picture of him watching the game on his TV, I was like, okay, this is great. And Michael Smith of Pro Football Talk picked it up. John Boy of Secret Base picked it up. So many people picked it up, and Pro Football Focus even talked about it on their podcast the next day.
So cool.
And I was like, this will be, no matter what I do, this will be the peak. This will absolutely be. I still feel that way. That for one day, I was like, I don't want to say like the king of like the NFL. I don't want to say that, but like for one day, like people were talking about, like the NFL media world was talking about something that I did, and it took so much time and so much energy, but it was so worth it. And that really kickstarted a lot of things with the channel. That was the moment I was like, you know what, you might have something here.
Yeah. Wow. You want to know what's so funny about that? I think when I first saw it, I think it was a few weeks old at that point. And I think that's when I actually ended up subscribing to your channel or sometime around there. But so back in the summer of 2019, my second channel, which is now just my regular name, Grant Flood, but I actually had my second channel called NFL YouTube Red Zone. And what that means was I was actually going to basically do what you did, but a little bit different. I was going to, instead of just picking 1 week in NFL history, I was going to just do a variety of games from a variety of week, do at the time 17 weeks, fill up the off season, basically produce like my own version of Red Zone. And then, I would end the year with, a championship game, an award show. I mean, we wouldn't be focusing on 1 week. We could be showing like the 49ers Giants week 2 game from 1988, and then we'll switch to like a Cowboys like Eagles game from 2016 or whatever. Like I was kind of thinking it like I can maybe do like some sort of Red Zone while making it kind of my own creation in a way. Like I was still trying to do like the touchdown montage at the end of the show and whatever the case may be there. It was an idea I had for a very long time, but at the end of the day, I knew high school, heading into college, I didn't really have the editing equipment. I still don't really have the editing equipment to do it. StreamYard would help out much more now, but I ultimately kind of backed out of the idea around March last year, which really kind of stinks because it was an idea that, my friends really like to watch football. They were like, dude, like, I'll help you out, like, film this. This is such a cool idea to, do during the off season. It was going to be, 1 o'clock start time on Sundays, the week after the Super Bowl to like the start of the preseason. I was going to do it, but ultimately that plan never fell through. And I honestly wish I did. And maybe I'll resurface the idea sometime in the future. If it does, I'll definitely let you know. But
absolutely,
yeah, man, I was really hoping like I could make my own creation of Red Zone. We could be in a world where the most random players like Stan Humphries could win MVP, right? Like, as I was also going to have a stat tracker to keep track of all the games and whatnot too, tally up all the stats at the end of the year. Whoever has like the most passing touchdowns or yards has the likeliest chance to win MVP or rushing yards or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. And what's crazy to me is that like when I was doing the Red Zone thing, the NFL was streaming one of their full games. This was like when they were uploading full games onto YouTube. Right. Because of COVID, and my stream had more people watching at the same time than the NFL stream at one point.
That's crazy.
And like Siciliano knew about it, Hansen knew about it, all these guys knew about it. And you would think like 2.5 years ago, like I gave you a great content format. Like I want to see this. I want to see you guys do this. I would love it if the NFL put together retro Red Zones and like did their own thing, did what they did with all the equipment and the footage that they had. Because there's something there. There's something incredible there.
There is something incredible there. Your idea obviously was a hit. I loved my idea back in the day. Just didn't have the equipment to do any of it. But, yeah, some of my longtime subscribers knew about that. But, yeah. But, yeah, no. I mean, congrats on that huge hit on the NFL Red Zone video. That's probably one of my favorite videos of yours as well. That was the video that probably got me hooked on your channel. And, yeah, I when I eventually saw that Scott Hansen, saw it, and now learning more about it, I'm like, wow, this must have been when you reached the top of the pinnacle. Like, fantastic stuff, my man.
Thanks.
Well, before we head into our last question, I have a special video suggestion for you. That accidentally stumbled upon this past Sunday. So hopefully you've never heard about this. Did you know that Troy Aikman was a bodyguard at Super Bowl 22?
Wait, what? I wait, no, I did not know. No way.
Never knew that Troy Aikman was
way.
a bodyguard at Super Bowl 22.
No way.
Wow. Yes, there is a way. Troy Aikman said it on a broadcast. Broncos Redskins 2013. I think he said it in like late third quarter, early fourth quarter. He talked about it for like 10 seconds. I'm just like, JG9's got to do a video on that. If he can find any sort of research, that would be incredible. Because he was in college, obviously, at UCLA at the time. And I think he was doing it like as like a staff member. Like he was a contributing like staff member.
Yeah. I mean, the game was in San Diego, so it checks out. I just looked on Google. I saw nothing.
Saw nothing?
Nothing.
Hopefully Troy ain't lying to his audience here. I don't know. I didn't put any other research into it. I just heard him say that. I'm like, no way. Huh. Well, maybe something to keep an eye out for.
Wow.
Yeah. In college, junior year of college, Troy Aikman was a bodyguard for the Broncos Redskins Super Bowl. Ain't that nuts? You learn something new every day.
Just blew my mind with that one.
And if I find the clip again, I'll make sure to post it on Twitter. If I find the clip,
yeah, please do, because I would love to see that. Because
my god,
for
sure. All right, and of course, last question: any advice for me or any other content makers that watch your channel?
I would say, like, in terms of like if they want to do this, like if they want to make a YouTube channel, I would say the two things most important is be authentic and find what you're good at. Thing with being authentic, people can see right through it if you're not. People can see, like, whether you like my videos or don't like my videos, whether you agree with what I say or disagree with what I say, there's no one that I've ever seen leave a comment that says this guy doesn't like football. This guy doesn't know the history of the game. Like, if you want to make it, if you want to do something like history related, you have to immerse yourself in the game. You have to spend the time. You have to spend the time immersing yourself in the history of the game, and you have to love it. Like, I couldn't do what I do, posting every day and working 12 hours a day on top of law school. I couldn't do it if I didn't love it. If it felt like work, I couldn't do it. So that's number one. Number two is there's so many content creators on YouTube. There are so many creators. There's new channels being posted every day. There's millions of hours of content posted every day. But there's gaps in the market. There are gaps in the market somewhere. You just have to find that gap, find your niche, and find what it is. Like, I saw a gap in terms of no one's posting videos on the history of the obscure history of the NFL and doing it daily. No one's doing that. All the videos on YouTube, not a single channel is doing it every day like that. So I filled that gap. You have to find a way to make yourself stand out, and that I think is the most important thing. Find what you're good at, be authentic, and find a way to make yourself stand out from the rest. Because you don't want to go into this saying, I want to be like Tom Brossi. I want to be like your name. I want to be like Jaguar. I want to be like myself. I want to be like myself. And I think that's, if you find that and find the gap and know how to work it, there's something there. So
yeah,
that'd be my advice. But I mean, this is still not my full, like not gospel or anything. This is not my full-time job just yet. I still got a long ways to go. I've got 40,000 subs. There are guys with way more subs than me. This is not like gospel or anything, but just what's worked for me in terms of being able to work so much, loving what I do, and having a great audience to do it. So
yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, that's great words, and I 100% agree with what you're saying. I mean, as a guy who loves to do play-by-play broadcasts on the channel, I try to find myself, because I know I can be a very enthusiastic commentator, so I just try to, be myself, and you're right, and that's sometimes the best thing you can do.
Yeah, like with the catchphrases, all the catchphrases I came up with, I don't steal people's catchphrases. I don't try to emulate like, okay, I want to go in and create something that sounds like this, sounds like something that this creator did. I just go into it and be myself. And I record, I turn on the mic, record for 15 minutes, and I just be myself. And I write my own scripts. I don't outsource that because I want it to sound like myself. And I just do everything in the style that I know that suits me. Whether you meet me on the street, whether you meet me like at a bar watching a game, where you meet me in my apartment, where you just watch a video, you're getting the same person.
Right. And I respect that.
If you don't do that, if you're not authentic, eventually there's going to be some cracks that slip. It's going to be something that slips through the cracks where you're gonna let your guard down.
Right.
And the facade's going to go away.
Well, JG9, I am proud to say that this interview went better than if you did nothing but spike the ball into the ground on every single play. You had to see that coming.
I saw it a mile away. But
well, again, ladies and gentlemen, this is official Jaguar Gator 9. His channels, his merchandise, his Twitch, and his Twitter are in the description. Thank you so much for coming on the channel. 41 minutes. This went a lot longer than I thought it was going to. You are one of my favorite YouTubers. Keep up the awesome work. Again, make sure you go check him out. I'm Grant Fluff from Fletcher Sports Zone with official Jaguar Gator 9 saying enjoy the rest of your evening. Love to have you back on again, by the way, because this was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. This is great. This is a great interview. It was really good.
Well, again, make sure you go subscribe to JG9. Make sure you go subscribe to myself here on YouTube at Fletcher Sports Zone. And I'll see you guys in the next video.